When it comes to the latest Pixel lineup, should you go for the Pixel 7a or the slightly more premium Pixel 8? Well, there's a price and performance difference, but most importantly, there's some big design changes. Here's what you need to know. So because this duo straddles two product lineups, there are a lot of little changes to the design of the Pixel 7a and the Pixel 8. You can see that the 7a does remain true to the Pixel 7 series from last year with a more boxy aesthetic, but the Pixel 8 does retain that core DNA with that camera bar looking fairly familiar, albeit with larger cutouts for the camera lenses. It's rounded or curvy, and that just means it's more comfortable to hold here too. The materials are certainly less premium on the 7a, with a mix of metal, glass and some plastic being used. Metal and glass do dominate on the more premium Pixel 8, and it has less of a backplate flex than the 7a. Whether it is related to the materials or just a cost-cutting measure, it's also worth noting that the Pixel 7a lacks an IP68 water resistance rating that the Pixel 8 does come with. I will say the colours are more vibrant on the 7a, including that Google Store exclusive coral model, which is definitely striking in person, but there are some good colour options for you to choose from here. One of the strangest aspects of the Pixel 8 is that because the design has been refined over the Pixel 7, it's actually smaller than the Pixel 7a whilst having a larger screen. Yes, that phone is smaller, but it has a screen 0.1 inches bigger, as it has way smaller bezels. This means that it's a great compact phone for most people, and it's more manageable than the 7a, which isn't even a big phone by modern standards. The display has other advantages here too, as while the Pixel 7a was the first A-series phone to ship with a 90Hz capable screen, the Pixel 8 has a 120Hz screen. The increase means smoother performance, but it doesn't stop there. Not only is the screen faster, but it also has a higher maximum brightness, which is better for just about every bit of content, no matter where you use your phone. Because of this change, there's a notable difference between the OLED on the 7a and the 8, with a big step up on that latter. Throw in the dynamic refresh rate switching on that newer handset, and it should also be more power efficient even at that maximum refresh rate, something the 7a did suffer from. One thing you maybe wouldn't notice unless using these devices side by side is that the rounded corners of the display of the Pixel 8 definitely fits the bubbly aesthetic of Android 14 a little more closely. It looks just fine on the 7a for what it's worth, it just feels even more at home on the Pixel 8. For all intents and purposes as well, Android 14 on the 7a and the 8 is almost identical. That's not strictly true when it comes into baked-in features though, as the Pixel 8 has some AI capabilities that are said to rely on the Tensor G3 processor to work correctly. We've talked about these before in previous videos, and they include Audio Magic Eraser for videos, Best Take for photos, and Magic Editor if you do want to tweak your photos after you've taken them. One of the coolest customizability features though that is exclusive to the Pixel 8 and the 8 Pro that has flown under the radar is the AI wallpaper option. This lets you create fresh wallpapers on the fly with added prompts. It works really well with more abstract inputs and complements material hue and dynamic color settings pretty much perfectly. Hopefully this will come to the 7a and older models though with a future Pixel feature drop. For now, it's exclusive to the 8 and 8 Pro. Without a doubt though, it's hard to argue that the biggest selling point for the Pixel 8 is that 7-year update promise. Unlike the 7a, which will get 3 Android versions and 5 years of security patches, this means every major update, including Pixel feature drops, until 2030. It's also worth noting the jump from the older Tensor G2 to the G3 isn't really a massive leap on paper. I can't personally tell the difference when using these phones side by side. The 7a is still more than powerful enough at its proposed price point that you definitely won't be disappointed. Sure, the Pixel 8 can do a tiny bit more, and it should do things like process images faster, but it's not a massive leap. It feels somewhat unfair to compare the cameras of the Pixel 7a and the Pixel 8, as the former does have marginally weaker components. The Pixel 8 definitely has a bigger 50 megapixel main sensor, but interestingly a low resolution ultrawide, although it does have some improvements of its own. You do miss out on macro focus and cinematic blur on the Pixel 7a, with less capable low light photos as well. Most of the core point and shoot functionality is available on both devices with exceptional photos across the board, but the Pixel 8 definitely has a major edge in video given the improved hardware and laser detect autofocus on both the main and wide lenses. The Pixel 8 is, even with a smaller frame, actually equipped with a 4% larger battery this time around. Toss in the efficiency boosts of Tensor G3, and there's definitely a noticeable boost over the 7A's somewhat mediocre runtime, especially when using that 90Hz display mode. The latter phone can last all day, but sometimes can wane if you do have that enabled. It also charges much slower than the Pixel 8, which has faster wired, wireless, and even has reverse wireless charging as standard, something that is not included and missing from the Pixel 7a. To summarise, I would never go out and suggest that someone upgrade from a less than 6-month-old device. However, if you are or were disappointed by that mid-range 7a when it launched, this Pixel 8 offers obvious and some substantial upgrades in a lot of areas. From the materials used to the screen quality and that all-important update lifecycle, it's hard to pass up that kind of value in an industry where prices are ballooning. And that's not a knock on the Pixel 7a. With discounts, there are arguably not many Android phones that offer such a comprehensive experience with that clean software experience bundled in. For most people, though, I would say upping your smartphone budget is going to be a wise decision for a more premium entry into Google's 2023 flagship lineup, especially with deals on the Pixel 8 being very, very good this year. Do you agree with me though? Let me know down in the comment sections below, and I will catch you in the next one.